Hey there. Well, we're at the end of the growing season, and something that I wanted to come out and share with you today is this pawpaw was the pawpaw that I had posted on pawpaw pages earlier this year, early in the spring. Uh, Deer had came in here and completely defoliated that pawpaw, and I mean, there wasn't a leaf one. One thing I will say though, they never broke a stem. Couldn't believe it. But anyways, whenever that transpired, you had one stem that came up, and you had a stem this way and a stem this way. That was it. And the one thing that I did notice, although not everything came back as far as leaves that were coming up that stem, but uh, where the leaf was, you probably had about maybe less than a quarter inch of that leaf stem on that branch. And the one thing I did is I thought, holy cow, I thought I lost it. This is a root sucker, by the way, that I dug up last year, and I liked the shape of it whenever I dug it up. And the one thing that I will say is it's probably one of the most healthiest little pawpaws as far as root suckers and seedlings that I have. Other than the seedlings that I started this year, those are getting some good size to them. They're looking pretty good out there in the fruit garden. But the one thing I wanted to share is the areas where the deer had nipped. Like here's a stem. It grew a stem. It grew another stem right here. That's where a leaf used to be. And then this is a replacing stem. That was the end of the stem. So this year alone, I'm looking probably about 8 inches of growth on that stem right there. This one right here, this was a leaf that it came out, one of the leaves that were nipped off, and it grew a stem, and that stem is probably about 11 inches to the end of the stem. And then over here, the original stem, which is right here, you see the little stems that come out right here where the leaves used to be. This is where the stem had ended, and this is where a leaf was. It grew a stem that's roughly around 5 inches. This one here grew a stem, and it's roughly about 5 to 6 inches. And what really surprised me about this is that it bounced back so well. This right here, you could see just a little node. That was the end of the stem. This grew a stem, and it grew from here to here. That's more than a foot. And this one right here is roughly around 11 inches to a foot. I mean, I'm really surprised at how that turned out to be that way. And for me, it's kind of exciting because it gives me a little thought in my mind of what I'm going to try and do next year. I have some other root suckers that I had planted along with my seedlings out there in the fruit garden, and I've got them exposed to the full sun because they're big enough to receive full sun. And what I'm going to try and do next year is try to copy what the deer had done this year to this little pawpaw and see how it works out with those pawpaws out back there. It's just a thought. You can see there's a little tiny node. It'll probably break right off because it's dry. Yes, a little tiny node. It'll probably, yep, it did. This here is just to show you the length of the stems that was left on that little pawpaw when the deer defoliated. That's the stem of the leaf. That's remnants. That's what was left behind by the deer on that pawpaw. They were all roughly around that size right there. So that's kind of interesting. The stem of the leaf, that is. Anyways, it was just something. Here's another one. It was just something that I wanted to share a thought of, and wondered if anybody have any thoughts about that. It's something new for me, and I'm hoping that my idea of what I'm going to try and do next year really works out, which, like I said, I'm kind of excited about trying to do that, because I got one root sucker that I had transplanted also last year, and that one there is taller than this one. This one here is pushing 3 foot tall right now. Anyways, just something that I wanted to share. My name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. And don't forget to click on that bell for notifications. Y'all have a God bless day.